Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for Faculty of Science Spotlight. My name is Professor Maria DeRosa. I'm a chemistry professor. I'm also in the Institute of Biochemistry here at Carleton, and I'm also an Associate Dean for the Faculty of Science. So I'm really delighted that you're taking the time to come find out more about our programs and maybe ask us a few questions today. I'm really happy to be here, and hopefully we can get those questions answered and we can all be a part of the Carleton community come fall. Okay, so I just want to start with a little bit of a schedule so you guys see what we're planning to do with you for the next little while. So this first session, I'm going to be talking about the Faculty of Science overall. So at Carleton, the Faculty of Science encompasses a number of bachelor degrees. So I'm going to talk about first the Faculty of Science, a little bit about student success and support, and then I'll talk about the Bachelor of Science programs. And at the same time, you can be asking questions, and I encourage you to ask questions in the question and answer bar to profs who are waiting in the wings from all sorts of different units in the Bachelor of Science. So we have biology, biochem, chemistry, nanoscience, food science, neuroscience, earth science, physics, linguistics, environmental science, and integrated science and practice. So all these people are waiting in the wings for you to answer your questions. Please engage with them, and I'll be giving you a little bit of information that's general. If you're here and you're interested in health sciences, mathematics, or computer science, no problem. We're going to be giving you mostly general stuff at the beginning of this presentation. And if you have specific questions, there are targeted sessions for you that are coming up later this afternoon. First, health sciences Q&A at 1:30. Math and stats at 2:30, and then computer science Q&A at 3:30. So hopefully we'll be able to get all those questions answered for you. So if we just move on, I guess I want to start by addressing something that's, I think, important for everybody right now. These are really uncertain times. I'm sure many of you are tuning into this webinar and you have questions about, what is school going to look like next year, and how are we going to make this work? And you have concerns, you're worried about how high school is ending, and that's okay. And so what I want to stress for you, if there's one thing that you take away from this whole experience with me today, we need science more than ever right now. You may be watching press conferences with the Prime Minister, or with health ministers, and they're saying things like, we need to make decisions that are guided by science. So, what better time to start a science degree? Honestly, this is a challenging time, but we're ready for you. Our mission hasn't changed. We want to help you get that science career off to the best start possible. So we're ready to do that. Whatever the mode of delivery ends up being, we're ready to help you get to where you need to go. The other thing I wanted to say is that, this too shall pass. And all these other issues that science can really help solve. So things like climate change, food security, opportunities like AI, synthetic biology, nanoscience, all those things are still around. They're still here. And we need scientists to face those challenges and to seize those opportunities. So what better time than now? Let's start our science path journey together now this fall. And we'll face the uncertain times together, and you'll be equipped to do all kinds of great things in the future. Okay, so with that, let's see. So I have a feeling that some of you are looking at offers right now from Carleton. You're trying to decide if you're going to accept those offers to Carleton. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here to listen in and to ask questions. You wrote Carleton down, and we chose you back, right? So we want you to be with us in the fall. So hopefully we can answer some of those questions, and you can make the decision to join us in September. Some of you may have already said yes. Welcome to you too. You made a great decision, and I'm hoping that this is still going to be a useful session for you. We'll talk about some services that you can exploit as soon as you start your degree with us. So welcome. And even if you're maybe you haven't even started this process yet, you're just kind of tuning in to see what's Carleton Science all about. This is something that's on your radar for the future. Welcome. Feel free to send us any of your questions as they come up. Okay, so first, before we switch slides, I want to, there's a question on here, why Carleton Science? This is an important question. I have a picture here. This gentleman is our Dean of Science. This is Chuck McDonald. And you may be used to seeing or thinking about deans in power suits, and here he is in his lab coat making slime for children of all ages at our chemistry magic show that took place in January. So I think this picture is kind of emblematic of something that I want you to take away from this session. Carleton Science, we're down to earth people, and we're all super passionate about science. We're excited about outreach. We want to, spread science around the world. And so even our dean is involved in our outreach activities. Okay, so with that, let's go to the next slide, and we can start answering some of the questions that you guys may be mulling over. So, why Carleton Science? Well, the first thing that I want to share with you is my pledge. If you choose Carleton Science, you will be supported here. And something that I'm really excited to talk about whenever I can as Associate Dean is something that we have that's so special at Carleton. It's the Science Student Success Center. Here's a picture of some people inside our center. And, the SSSC has a mission to support undergrads and to help undergrads define and achieve their goals, academic goals, career goals, social goals, human goals. And, this is something that drives us and, really, I think, sets us apart. We really have everything in place to get you where you need to go. And sometimes you don't know where it is you want to go. So help you map out that plan and help you achieve that plan. So if we go to the next slide, there are a little bit more details about how the Science Student Success Center works. There's a website for you to check out, sssc.carleton.ca. I invite you to go there. And we have these different pillars, and they all speak to a different aspect of what we're trying to do to support you as science students. So things like mentoring, you can have one-on-one guidance from an upper year student. I mean, what an opportunity. Someone who's been in your shoes, you can ask them questions. Academic support, we have all sorts of different programs to get you up to speed to start your program in science. Networking events, community events, to support you as a whole person, not just as a science student. And things like healthcare and computer science streams, mock med school interviews, mock Google training practices, this kind of thing. So we really want to be there and we want to support you. And I think the SSSC is something that I wanted to highlight for you so that no matter what program you're in, whatever unit you're in science, there are resources for you to really help you succeed. Okay, so what else? Why else should we choose Carleton Science? And I think, this is probably the most important thing because we know that you're really mapping out your future. Maybe your future is uncertain. You don't know what it is that exactly you want to do, but you know that you're going to need skills. You're going to need practical skills. You're going to need professional skills, communication skills, because eventually we all want you to start a career. And you will launch your career here. You're going to have access to state-of-the-art facilities and really passionate educators. And something that drives us is this feeling that we really need to provide, in science especially, experiential learning. I think in no other discipline, perhaps, this is more true, that you can't learn science without doing science. And I mean this very generally. So, that could be programming, that could be, out in the field looking at plants, that could be in a lab mixing chemicals, but you can't do it without having that support. And that's what we're here to give you. So there are a lot of different ways that you can experience this at Carleton. So in some places there are internships. So for example, this is a photo of some biotech students at an NRC internship. Here's a Shopify computer science internship student. They could be in our state-of-the-art lab facilities. It could be in research labs. As I mentioned, it could be out in the field. Your lab may not be something that's walls and sinks. It may be a forest. It may be an ocean. And so all these things are really important here at Carleton. And what I want to stress for you is that here at Carleton, teaching and research are intimately linked. So some of our best educators are also top-notch researchers, and they integrate their research into what they're teaching you. You're learning what's at the cutting edge. And I think that's really important. We value teaching and research equally, and we know they go hand in hand. So we want to invite you to be a part of that. As undergrad students, there are a lot of opportunities for you to be part of our research enterprise. So hopefully we'll have questions. We can talk a little bit more about that. The last thing that I wanted to say in terms of, why Carleton? Anytime I talk to students, this word community comes up over and over again. So you will find your community here, and that's through clubs and societies. It's through interacting with other students. So the slide here is showing you just the events of the main society for science, Carleton Science Student Society. And they put on all kinds of wonderful, events that support you socially, they support you scientifically, they support you holistically. So you can be a part of any of those things. And there are also, I just put up some logos from the individual unit societies. All of these societies work together to give you that full experience. And I think it's really clear, the evidence is there that if you build a community when you start university, you will ultimately be more successful. This is a network that you're going to be relying upon throughout your career. And also as socially, as social beings, having that sense of a family when you're at university is so important. So at Carleton, we're ready to give you the opportunities to find the right fit for you. What's the community that you really want to be a part of? Okay, so with that, I really want to just close before we take some questions with, again, just me saying that I think you've chosen to listen to this webinar. There's something about a program, a specific unit that's really caught your eye. Chances are, if you're looking at an offer, something about you's caught our eye too. And I think together we can do great things. So, consider that we're here to support you. Consider that you're going to get a great hands-on experience, whatever the delivery method ends up looking like in this first term. You're going to get that experiential learning that you need to launch your career, and you're going to make friends here that are going to last a lifetime. So I really encourage you to choose Carleton Science. So with that, I want to open it up a little bit. So I have with me someone who's very special. Unfortunately, you'll be hearing a voice, so that's why I wanted to put this beautiful picture up of Millie Close. She is a health science student. She's doing a minor in communications and media, so that's great. She's president of the Carleton Science Student Society, so again, excellent. And she's also involved in the SSSC as health team lead and coordinator. So she's got all kinds of different experiences that really speak to what you can get into when you start at Carleton, all the great opportunities that await you. And I'm going to ask her to help me out. She's going to pull some questions and ask me those questions, and I will answer them live. I hope in the meantime, while you're listening and questions are coming up, you are putting in questions into the Q&A. Not all of those are going to end up answered live, but like I said, we have all kinds of great people waiting in the wings to answer your questions and really help you out with your decisions. So I'm going to ask if Millie can join in with us just by sound. Hi, Millie. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here and for helping us out. And I would just love it if you started firing away with some questions, and I'll probably pull you in to help me answer some of them.
Absolutely. So my first question is, how much harder are classes going to be compared to how they were in high school, and what can I do to succeed in my university classes?
This is a great question. I'm sure everyone's got this in the back of their mind, and even under normal circumstances, even if there was completely normal fall semester that was awaiting us, there is that anxiety. We're leveling up. We're going from high school to university. What is that going to mean? So yes, they are going to be harder. Everything's harder until you actually start doing it. Then you realize you've got the skills and you're ready to face that challenge. But there are a lot of things you can do, and we're here to help you to get ready so that you feel that you are ready to face this new challenge. And so one thing I can recommend is through the Science Student Success Center, we do have this first year science accelerator program. You can sign up for it. Registration will be up probably in the summer. And what it looks like is that in the fall, there are going to be a series of kind of workshops where you can learn about things like how can you understand your props, expectations. How can you read this syllabus? Some really practical things. How do I rate this lab? How do I succeed in online classes? This might be a big issue coming up. People are facing this for the first time. And so really relevant, important, clear information that's going to help you get off to the best possible start. So I really encourage you to look into that. So that's through the Science Student Success Center, and it's called the First Year Science Accelerator. We can match you up with mentors through summer matchup. You can ask direct questions too, and there are lots of ways for you to get off to the best possible start. Great question.
Sweet. So I have another question for you. The way things have turned out for my final semester, I'm a little worried that I won't be ready for my science classes in the fall. So what can I do to be prepared in that sense?
You know what? Again, this is an important question, and this would be true no matter what the circumstances, but especially now, definitely I feel people will have a certain level of anxiety that they didn't quite finish the semester the way they would like, and maybe they're worried that they don't have the background or the basis to be able to succeed in their science courses coming forward. I want to reassure you that this should not affect your decision. I think don't worry. Everyone's in the same boat, and the first year instructors are getting prepared right now for this very thing, that there are going to be different maybe different levels of incoming knowledge. That's true always, especially in a science degree. High schools will have different levels of science curriculum, so we're already prepared for this kind of thing, people coming in with different background levels. So don't worry. We're here to help. Very specifically, again, I can suggest a few things. So if you go to the Science Student Success Center website, you can learn about two programs that are sort of refresher courses or kind of boot camp scenarios, like Math Matters and Chem Matters. These are two programs that we offer, again, in late August, so towards the end of the summer, and they're going to be virtual. They're going to be online this year, so you don't have to, you can do this from the comfort of your home, where you can get some refresher, some basics to get you back up to speed on math. That's going to prepare you for what you're going to see in university, and same with chemistry. I think these are two areas of where there's some anxiety generally. So these are two things that we can offer you. And at the same time, again, we're ready for you. We're preparing right now for all scenarios for fall science. So when you get here, whatever here ends up being, if it's virtual or not, you can interact with your professors, you can talk to the mentors, and they'll be able to help you out and help you find the resources you need to make sure you can succeed.
Cool. So the next question, what kind of research opportunities are there for undergraduate students?
This is a very good question. So I mentioned that this is something that's really important for us in science, that we really try to integrate our teaching and research. So there are lots of different ways that you can engage in research as an undergrad student. We think this is a really important part of your education. Whatever specific degree you're getting, there are lots of ways for you to get involved. So for a few examples, even as soon as after your first year, you can apply for something called the Dean Summer Research Internship. This is funding from the Faculty of Science and from the Discovery Center at the university that will allow you to spend a good part of your summer in a research environment, whatever that research environment might look like for your specific interests, working with experts and learning these new skills. So this could be, again, it could be out in the field. This could be, modeling something at a computer. This could be in a lab. This could be also anything you can imagine research might look like in the Faculty of Science. We're letting our first year students have access to that. So that's called the Dean Summer Research Internship. In later years, there are other mechanisms for you to spend your summers doing research in whatever field you're interested in. For example, the USRA, which is a national program that allows for funding through the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council. They give us funding to have these experiences for students. On maybe a smaller scale, There are other ways that you can get research experience or kind of more real world experience that don't necessarily need to take the whole summer. And these are program specific. So for example, one that I can think of that might be interesting to you is in biotech. They have an internship. It's a 1-week internship with the National Research Council. I showed a quick photo of some students who were at the National Research Council in my presentation. And that internship is with human health therapeutics. And this internship lasts a week. It's over fall break. And they get to talk to experts. They come up with a kind of hypothetical startup, and they learn all kinds of things. And so it's a really small taste of what the world could be like if you decide to follow this path. So these sorts of things are open to undergrads as well. Also, you can imagine there are different course credits you can take that are research experience course credits. There are field courses that will feel like research type experiences. So all these things, I encourage you to look into them, because this is really something that is going to enhance your experience. The classroom, the laboratory, all the traditional aspects of a science degree are very important. But when you start to do research and you're at that cutting edge, right? You're at that edge where what you're working on, the answer isn't known. This isn't cookbook. That is when you really get to understand the power of your science education. So I really encourage everyone to be thinking about that when they start their science degree.
That's amazing. Thank you. So my next question is, what is the best piece of advice about university that you've received or that you've given?
Okay, great. I might bounce this back to you as well, Millie. So let me start. I think for me, so actually I didn't even mention this, but I am a Carleton alum as well. I did my science education at Carleton many years ago. I think the best piece of advice that I was ever given, and that now I try to give to others, is that you know, your university experience is more than just, you know, getting the classes done, submitting the lab reports, all those sorts of things. So this is about becoming the best version of yourself, right? So explore those clubs that you're interested in, you know, give back to the community, try out things that you aren't, you maybe are outside of your comfort zone, for example, and make sure you're supporting yourself as a whole person. You know, take care of your physical health, take care of your mental health. And then when you put all those pieces together, you'll get the most out of the classes, the labs, all those other things, because you will be in a better place in order to do that. Student success is so closely linked to, you know, their wellness, their sense of community, all these things. So make sure that you come into this experience with that in mind. You know, if you come into the experience saying, okay, it's going to be so much work, only work, that's, you know, of course it's important that you spend time on your studies. But if you come into this experience saying, you know, I'm going to grow in every way that I can imagine, then you're going to make the most out of it.
That's great advice, Dr. DeRosa. Thank you.
What about you, Millie? What about you? Do you have any advice that you received or anything that you heard that helped you get off to the best start in your university career?
Yeah, I think if I had to pick one piece of advice that I received a lot, it was to go and ask for help whenever you need it. And I think that's my favorite piece of advice to give to folks when they're asking me about university. Whenever you feel like you might need help, even if you don't know what the question is that you're really asking, Carleton has this exceptional culture of care and support. And I've always felt like someone is there to help me out in whatever way that I need. Whether it's the Science Student Success Center, if it's like career services, I'm getting my resume looked over. The profs and your peers, like folks are ready to help you out when you need it. And I think that's something that I really appreciate. So I know that it's a little bit cliche, but you should always ask for help when you feel like you need it. That's my favorite advice about university.
That's fantastic, Millie. I agree completely. And one thing I remember as a student, now as a prof, I can kind of laugh, but as a student, I remember thinking, oh, these professors, they're so, you know, separate from me, right? I can't imagine that I can just go and talk to them. Meanwhile, now as a prof, I'll have office hours and I'm just hoping for somebody to come in to talk to me, right? And even now, even if it's an online office hour, I'm waiting by the computer, and I'm hoping, please come and talk to me, ask me your questions, we're ready. So that's something I think that's a great piece of advice. There are lots of people ready to answer your questions, so don't be shy to come and ask them.
Awesome, thank you. Our next question is, can I get involved in extracurriculars in first year? I love this question already.
This is a great question. I'm going to bounce it back to you as well, Millie. So, not only can you get involved in extracurriculars in first year, please get involved in extracurriculars in first year. Like I said, this is going to be instrumental to your success, and this is going to help you build that network that you're going to need in order to be successful long term. I have peers that I met in university through all sorts of different extracurricular activities that I've kept in touch with. They've helped with getting jobs. They've helped with all sorts of things. So this is important to build your network early. And it also makes university fun, right? It makes it exciting. So definitely do that. Look into your individual units, societies. I'm going to let Millie, I think you're probably better suited to answer this question about opportunities at the Science Society for first year students and how they can get involved. So maybe I'll bounce it back to you and you can help me out with this question.
For sure. So the answer to that question, can you get involved in extracurriculars in first year? Yes, of course. There's over 300 clubs and societies at Carleton, so there's definitely something for everyone. I got involved with several different activities in my first year, including the Science Society. There's a position specifically for students in their first year so that we can make sure their voices are being heard. And it's a super cool opportunity to kind of see an organization over the course of your time at Carleton. So yeah, I thought getting involved was a great way to make friends in other programs and meet people in upper years. And it can provide you with some really cool opportunities to ask folks who might be in your same program questions about future classes you might have to take, or talk to them a little bit about what their advice is, and just a really casual, chill setting. Yeah, I got involved with the Science Student Success Center actually right when I came to Carleton, and having been involved with it over the last few years, it's become like a little family for me. It's so nice it's such a sweet community. I can just walk into the SSSC and feel like I'm at home, which is very, very much something that I feel grateful for about Carleton. And I think that goes for a lot of different extracurriculars. Most of the programs at Carleton, particularly in the Faculty of Science, have their own specific departmental society. So for myself, I'm a student in the Department of Health Sciences. We have the Health Sciences Society. There's also CUBS, which is the really fun acronym for the Carleton University Biology Society. Similarly, there's CUPS, which is the Physics Society. And all these organizations do really incredible things for their students, whether it's designing their own lab coats or running pizza and a prof event, where you can just have some pizza and chat with your profs. There's lots of really cool ways to just sort of dip your toe in the water and then launch yourself into these extracurriculars. I cannot recommend it enough.
That's fantastic, Millie. That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Right on.
Any more questions? I'd love to hear some more questions.
Absolutely. The next one is a question about co-op. So it says, should I sign up for co-op? And how else can I get a sense of what jobs in science are out there for me?
Yes, so co-op is a great option. And, within science, every degree has some form of either co-op or a practicum that can let you have that real world experience. So definitely I encourage it. This is a great way to sort out, what you do want to do, what you don't want to do. It's a great way to build those professional skills that you need, communication, teamwork, and that sort of thing. So that's fantastic. It's not the only way. So if there were, how else can I get a sense for these jobs? We do have other opportunities. So there are the shorter internships that I mentioned, like the biotech internship. So that's a possibility. Different units have different short-term kind of feel it out sort of things that you can try. Another thing I would suggest is that, again, through the Science Student Success Center, we do have the Job Shadow program. And this is a way that, a student gets matched up with a Job Shadow mentor and will have a chance to ask questions, get a feel for what that career kind of looks like, try it on for a little bit and see how it feels. So this is also maybe shorter term kind of way to get a sense for what jobs are out there. Again, you know, talk to the profs. They have seen their students graduate. They know where the alum are headed and where they've been. And take part in events like in the Science Student Success Center. They will have the alumni mixers, and you should definitely be a part of that. Join those events, and so you can get to see what alum are doing in different fields, and you can see how that feels for you.
Awesome, thank you. Next question is, how do I get into medical school?
Yes, this is a big question. We get this question a lot. And it's an important question, and I'll answer medical school, but I'll also broaden it out in other professional schools, you know, pharmacy, dentistry, any of those things. Science is the perfect path into these programs, and we have a lot of different ways that you can get into this career path. It doesn't always have to be the same one-size-fits-all kind of degree. So definitely, if you stick around, you'll hear about health sciences. There are many options through health sciences to get that kind of fundamental basis that you need that can lead to a medical school application, no problem. Biology, biochem, even things like interdisciplinary science and practice. You can imagine that you can get all the fundamentals in, but then also build things like science communication skills, you know, teamwork skills that are valued when you go on to do a medical career. So in terms of academics, you know, don't worry. Lots of different ways to get there. So you should choose the program that's the right fit for you, where you can succeed and you're passionate about it. And then, you know, that can give you that foundation. But now, in terms of the actual mechanics, how do I actually get into, you know, medical school? We also have some options at the Science Student Success Center that can help you. So there is a med school prep that you can be a part of. It's a part of this Kickstart into Science med school preparation, and it's again several workshops where you can learn things like, you know, do a practice MCAT, how do the interviews work, maybe check out other health related careers as backup plans, these kinds of things. So that's something you should look into. And the same thing goes for other types of professional schools. Check in with the Science Student Success Center. They can help you out a lot. Actually, just for interest, if students are wondering about, you know, Carleton students going on to medical careers, if you go to the Science Student Success Center website right now, so sssc.carleton.ca, there's a really nice article about some former mentors from the Success Center who are now on the front lines in this COVID crisis, working as doctors. So you can see how they were impacted by their time here at Carleton and how it helped them start their career on the best possible foot, and how they're dealing with this crazy situation. So definitely it's possible. We have the resources, you know, you put in the effort and ask for help, check out all the resources we have, and we can work on this together as one of the goals that you can achieve.
That's excellent. All right, we have another question. What are the best things about CU Science?
Oh, I might pull you in too for this. I think you already said a little bit, Millie. So, you know, for me, I've seen science from a student perspective many years ago, and now, you know, as a faculty member. And I think I'll reiterate again the same things that I've been saying. So we value the student experience and your education, and we value top level research. So we're kind of this perfect fit where, you know, you can come here, you can do really exciting research, but it's not at the expense of the undergrad experience or at the expense of the undergrad education. As I mentioned, we have top researchers who will be teaching your classes. And this is an amazing experience. You can have someone who is pushing the boundaries of whatever science that you're studying, talking to you about it in the classroom. This is amazing. That and the fact that we are a family and we're here to support each other. And I think that comes through in how encouraging everyone is, and also how ready everyone is to help. So I feel like this sort of, I've been in other places and a lot of great institutions. I've never had the same sense of community as I've had as a student and as a faculty member now at Carleton.
Yeah, I think I echo that. I think the science community here is, like I mentioned earlier, just incredibly supportive, and very open and welcoming. I'm a big fan. So from like, there's genuinely always someone you can reach out to, which I think is one of the best things about CU Science. And I also really like how there's always something happening. It's a very lively and exciting place to be. From events run by the various departmental societies for specific programs to the Science Student Success Center, there's a lot of really, really cool events happening. You can stop by networking nights for various different fields. There's I'm part of the healthcare team at the SSSC, so we run Med Night, which brings in a lot of different professionals from the healthcare field. There's also Net Night, which is geared for students interested in like working in computer science fields. And I think you mentioned the alumni mixer as well, which has Carleton grads doing all sorts of different careers in science, who you can connect with. It's really, 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 there's always something going on. We have Science Kindness Week each term, which I think is one of the best things about CU Science. You can catch some pretty sweet and wonderful uplifting sticky notes all around the science buildings on campus. And there's also like opportunities to engage with research in other fields as well. Sometimes there's events on campus where someone will be presenting about the research that they're doing. I know some of these things are taking place over webinars these days, but it's really cool to kind of learn about what's going on in different departments. And, you know, I myself might not get to interact a whole lot with, for instance, chemistry research as a health sciences student, but I can still figure out what's going on thanks to all these really cool lectures and stuff. So yeah, I'm a big fan. It's always moving. There's a lot of growth in science, and I think that's something that I really appreciate about it. But ultimately, that community really just, it takes the cake. It's absolutely my favorite thing about CU Science.
I can sense your enthusiasm, even though I can only hear your voice. I can tell that you're smiling. So that's awesome. Yes. And you know what, I think even though, you know, things are uncertain right now, you know, you're talking about all the great things that happen on campus, you know, we're ready, we're planning. Whatever ends up coming of the fall term, we'll be ready to deliver some of these things virtually if we need to deliver them virtually. And so I think that nothing will change in that respect, no matter how things pan out for the fall.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So,
well, that's great. I mean, so these are great questions. I don't know, Millie, let's see now. We've been at it for a little while. Maybe, and those were very general questions, which is great. And please continue to post general questions in the Q&A if you have them. I'm wondering if there are any now more specific questions about specific units that I can answer, specific degrees, this kind of thing. Now that we're into the second half, perhaps, of this hour, we can be more about the Bachelor of Science programs.
For sure. I actually have a couple here. So the first one is, why do a science degree in linguistics?
This is a good question. Yeah. So Carleton is one of only 2 places to offer the BSc in linguistics in Canada. So this is pretty unique. And yeah, it may not be obvious to everyone. Maybe they're saying, well, I applied for science and through art, so what should I do? Should I do the science degree? So this is a good question. I mean, science, the reason why you would be interested in science with linguistics is that, you know, it's a field that studies language, okay? So there are arts and science connections, but the BSc is going to be focusing on the connections with neuroscience, computer science, the science aspects of psychology, putting those and weaving those all together. So, you know, for example, there's a concentration within the BSc science for linguistics. It's psycholinguistics and communication disorders. And this is going to give you everything you need to sort of be like that stepping stone to a graduate program in speech language pathology. So if that's your interest, you're in linguistics, but that's your goal, the science version of that degree is the way to go. And like I said, it's a pretty unique program. So we're really excited about it. So I encourage you, if this is your path that you're imagining for yourself, then this is the right way to put all those courses together and put all those pieces together.
That's excellent. I have another program specific question for you, Dr. DeRosa.
Sure.
What kind of student is the interdisciplinary science and practice program aimed for?
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, so ISAP. Interdisciplinary Science and Practice. This is a relatively new program, so we were in the first full year in earnest this past year. And, this is a really exciting program. This is putting together all sorts of different elements. So it's taking concepts from all sorts of different science disciplines, putting them together and trying to apply them to real world problems from different viewpoints, local, global, right? So this is a really, really exciting program. I'm very, very happy that we've been able to put this together. We have a great team that are delivering this program. So this is more for, those students who love learning all about science, okay? So they're not just really focused on one discipline, right? Some people, like I loved chemistry, amazing, right? So I wanted to do chemistry. But this is for someone who really is just passionate about all these different disciplines. And they want to be able to communicate about science. They want to engage with people around them and really kind of integrate all these different perspectives. So it's a program that's really student-centered, it's experiential. You're going to get that practical kind of skill development. And it's going to be for those students who, maybe you're not thinking you're going to go into necessarily research. It doesn't preclude it, but it's more for the student who's looking to get employed right away. What I was talking at the beginning about, we need to have science help us inform our decision making. We need to have politicians who are going to use science to help them with their decisions. This program is, building those people who are going to be able to help. They're going to be the decision makers that are informed by science. They're going to help the decision makers that bridge to science. So this is that type of program. The other thing is the ISAP's classes are small, and so it's really kind of customized instruction. So if that's something that really appeals to you, then you may be the right student for ISAP. So I really, really encourage you, if this is something that you're thinking about, please pop some, we have great profs from ISAP waiting in the chat to answer your questions. This is a really exciting program, and I really want to spread the word about it.
That sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm. I
have another specific question for you.
Yes.
What's special about food science at Carleton versus other universities?
This is a good question. And this again is a really exciting interdisciplinary program. It's been around now for a little while, so it's more established in our university. And this is going to give you the fundamentals of all the aspects of science as they relate to food. So there's going to be biology, there's going to be chemistry, there's even sometimes engineering. We have to worry about packaging, we have to worry about all these sorts of things, quality. So all those founded in science, grounded in science, all those concepts. But then on top of that, these students are going to get, value added. They're going to be learning about things like regulations. And someone may say, well, why do I need to learn about regulations in a science degree? Yeah, but regulations keep you safe, right? Without regulations, who knows if your olive oil is some other oil, your salmon is rainbow trout, I don't know. The food dye is toxic. So we need these regulations. And so understanding them, how they're crafted, how they relate to science, this is going to give our food science graduates that advantage over other programs, because the reality is, there are people who are going to want to go outside of the lab after their science degree. Again, the decision makers, the regulators, and this is another one of these programs that really is going to support that. On top of it, food science is going to help answer a lot of complex questions, just like integrated science and practice is going to be, looking at real world problems. Food science does too, food security, these sorts of things. You need that interdisciplinary approach to be able to solve these kinds of problems. So you'll learn things like plant-based proteins and eco-friendly crop preservation and value-added nutrition. All these concepts that you'll learn in the food science program are piecing all these disciplines together and applying them to the real problem. So again, a great program that's really going to give you a little bit more than just, the standard science curriculum. You're going to get that value.
That's exciting stuff. I have another question for you about nanoscience.
Great.
What is the difference between nanoscience and chemistry with a concentration in nanotechnology?
Yes, that's a good question. So nanoscience and nanotechnology, these kind of emerging fields. Again, these are programs that have been around for a little while at Carleton, but they're still relatively new programs. And these are emerging areas that focus on the very small. So tiny drug delivery vehicles, the components of faster and faster computers. So this science, we need certain skills to be able to do this type of science. So the nanoscience degree is a little bit of a mix of physics, chemistry, and even some engineering courses that kind of weaves together to give you that kind of whole foundation to be able to succeed in this new area. The chemistry concentration is a chemistry degree. So you have all the basis, all the foundation of a science degree in chemistry with this added tool set in nanotechnology. So a little less perhaps in depth in the nano field, but a foundation in chemistry. So it depends on your interest, and it depends on where you see yourself going, but they're both great programs. And again, I encourage you, if you're one of these students who are on the fence, pop a question in the Q&A and we can get back to you and we can help you figure out what best meets your needs.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Well, that's great. So, I mean, we did a lot of, we covered a lot of different questions, some general questions, some really specific questions. And I can see that the Q&A is still going strong. So I think that, we're going to wrap up, my face in front of you guys pretty soon. But the Q&A question is going to keep going. Q&A session, I should say, is going to keep going. Please, if your questions haven't been answered, be patient. People are working on it. Go ahead and pop some more questions into that chat and see if we can help you make this big decision. And again, before I sign off, just one last kind of statement from me on behalf of the Dean of Science, behalf of everyone at the Faculty of Science. As I mentioned, our mission hasn't changed. So things are different. We don't know what the future holds, how we're going to exactly be responding to all these changes that are around us because of COVID-19 and everything. But our mission hasn't changed. So we are still in the business of helping you achieve your goals and getting you the science degree that's going to launch you on your path to your career and everything that you want to accomplish. So that hasn't changed. The way that is delivered, we can sort that out. But our goals together, you can rest assured that we are solid in that respect. So join us, come and see what you can learn at Carleton. Come and see how we can help you achieve your goals. And I'm really, really hopeful that in one way or another, I'm going to see you in September and we can start this journey together. So thank you so much, everyone. Feel free to continue asking questions, and I look forward to seeing you in the near future. Take care, everyone.